Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Right now, as we have French Hill with us of Arkansas later, we have a Democrat, but he is a unique and different Democrat. How many Democrats really started out as a selectman on the finance committee of their given village and town?
Right.
His was in the advantage of Greenwich, Connecticut. Joining us now, the governor of the state of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, Democrat. And Ned, an honor to have you on with us today. I'm going to suggest you are a wing of the Democratic political experiment, more conservative. How do you drag your brethren towards the Lamont politics in the next 2 and 4 years?
Hey, well, good morning, Tom. Look, it was a wipeout last night, and I hope it's a wake-up call for the Democrats. It was not a wipeout in Connecticut. Not only did our congressional team go back, but we actually picked up Democrats in the legislature, the House and the Senate. I'd like to think we're sort of meat and potatoes Democrats. We balanced the budget, we cut middle-class taxes, we're pretty tough on crime, and you can't get away from your roots.
Ned Lamont, I saw last night over at CNN, David Axelrod, who some people would say invented Barack Obama. Mr. Axelrod was scathing about East Coast Democratic elites lecturing working class America and saying to them, lecturing them and almost saying to them, someday you can be like us. You fought that your entire life, coming from the advantages you had. How do we get to where Axelrod wants the Democrats to be, which is they don't lecture the working class of America? They voted for Trump yesterday.
Take that final couple of days. Kamala should have been in a diner having a cup of coffee and apple pie with a couple of the guys instead of Oprah and Beyonce. But, you know, that said, look, I'm an Ivy League guy. I'm from Greenwich, so I'm hardly the person to say we are going to be the party of the working families. But you got to reach out to people. You got to talk to people. Every day I go to the factory line and make sure people have a sense that we're there for them. You know, Washington, under Biden, there weren't very many business people at all in that administration. Connecticut's led by a business guy.
Ned, how do you think Democrats should work with the Trump administration over the next 4 years?
Well, the next 2 years, he's going to have the House, the Senate, the White House, and the Supreme Court. My job, Paul, is to, I'm a governor. I've got to work with the president. I can't sit around on the sidelines just getting angry. We work with the White House every day. Everything from the infrastructure bill, see if that gets continued. Healthcare is going to be probably at risk right now. You look at what happens to Obamacare and the exchanges. These are all places I've got to work very closely with the White House.
Governor, what are you telling your fellow Democrats this morning as they wake up and they think about the future?
Put away the cyanide. It's a wake-up call. The president won. He won big. He won't be complaining about the outcome and complaining about electoral fraud. I'm pretty sure about that. And we got to do is we got to stand up for our values every day, remind people why we were voted back in bigger numbers, and make sure we also realize that we have to work with the White House. That's what the deal is.
Ned Lamont, you have been a businessman. I mean, I love this. Governor Lamont volunteering at the Warren Harding High School in Bridgeport. For those of you across the nation, Bridgeport is not Greenwich, to cut to the chase. Ned Lamont, how do you get the Democrats to understand that it's not just about billionaire taxes, it's not about unrealized capital gains, it's about endorsing entrepreneurship, as Mr. Trump in his own unique way has endorsed?
I thought that Kamala was getting there when she talked about the Opportunity Society, less about handouts, more about ladders and allowing people to start their own business and maybe own their own home. That's what we tried to do in Connecticut. We've had more new business startups than ever before. We used to offer big incentives to see if we can attract big companies here. Now we're allowing a lot of small companies to get some of the capital they need to start up, and it's working.
So, Ned, the future of the Democratic Party here, how quickly do you think that this party will pivot, and how much does it need to pivot, do you think?
Look, I think it was a wake-up call. Like I said, I hope there is some introspection going on. And, we ignored the border for too long. If they say, what's the difference between you and Joe Biden? I would have shut down that border to illegal immigration on day one. I mean, that was an answer that I think was needed.
Governor, one final question this morning. I know it's an incredibly busy day for you. There's going to be a national governors meeting here coming up after this seismic shift to the right that we see in America. Give us the tone, the bipartisan tone of the governors of America as they address this new Washington.
One, when the White House calls, you're there. We have the, holiday dinner and we get together. I think it'll be Joe Biden's finale, if I'm not mistaken. I got to check the dates.
Sure.
And governors, we feud maybe publicly. Privately, you're in the kitchen and you roll up your sleeves and say,
Right.
how you handling that Medicaid reimbursement issue? Let me tell you what we're doing. So I'd like to think there's a little more of that collaboration going on at the governor level. I don't see it in Washington.
Governor, what are you going to do about Amtrak between New York and Boston? How can we, what can you do to help us with Amtrak between New York and Boston?
I'm afraid we're the choke point on that, Tom, because it was built a long time ago. It winds around. But that said, with the infrastructure bill, a little credit there to Joe Biden. That's going to make an enormous difference. We're straightening out the tracks. We'll never be like Beijing to Shanghai, but we'll be able to get another 30, 40 miles an hour of speed out of this, and that helps.
Yeah, Nick Burns is over as ambassador to China, folks, enjoying the trains, the perfect trains of China, while Paul and I are on the Excella going, why have we stopped outside New Haven? Ned Lamont, the Democrat of Connecticut, thank you so much.